Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I am broadcasting this lesson to you from beautiful Central Europe. I hope everybody is having a great weekend so far. Today, the focus is on the IELTS speaking section, specifically speaking part 3, which are the detailed questions following part 2 cue card. With the follow-up questions. Hi, Kyber. Hi, Nitesh. Hi, Warda. Good to see so many students in class. Hi, Tina. Always good to have you. Our materials do come from our websites. The websites are aehelp.com for the academic version of the test. And for the general version of the test, check us out at gieltshelp.com. I'll show you those websites just real quick so you know what you're searching for. This is our academic IELTS web portal with over 6 original practice exams and over 100 hours of video lessons, a fully interactive course. Click that red button to join it. This is our general version of the same site. It's the green background at gieltshelp.com. Click that red button to join us there. Hi, Bagzad. Hi, Preeti. Kind of missed you in our last members chat class, but no worries. You're here now. That's fantastic. Let's get back to today's lesson. So, let's take a look at the questions. Just before we do that, my email, if you have questions, adrian@aehelp.com. This is the last class for this week. Next class will start up on Wednesday, the 8th. I will be posting the schedule shortly. We already have that. And here is part 3. So let's get right into it, into part 3. Now, this is speaking students, so I really want you to repeat me, okay? Repeat questions, repeat answers, just repeat as much as possible. So repeat. The intonation, enunciation. If you hear new words, write them out, write down definitions. Hi, Bek Murad. All right. Hi, Mariko. Good to see you in class. Here we go. So part 3, you have some follow-up questions. Part 3, the questions are more detailed. They can be a little bit trickier to understand, a little bit trickier to answer. So you have to just really take it calm, step by step. Let's just start off with a couple of questions, get some answers from you, and I'll help you out. I'll correct mistakes. So part 3, the examiner says, now that is the end of part 2. Your 2 minutes is up. I'll take back the card with the questions, the note paper, and we'll continue with part 3. For part 3, I will ask you some more questions related to the topic of part 2. Let's talk about dangerous situations. What kinds of everyday activities can be dangerous for people? Give me some nice answers for this question, students. What kinds of everyday activities can be dangerous for people? Again, think of full sentence answers, joining together ideas with conjunctions. Try to not repeat the same words. Okay, Farhan, crossing the road is a good answer, but you need to really put that into a full sentence, Farhan. So just throwing out crossing the road is not the best way to get a band 8 or 9, okay? Huen Kuat, do you driving a car? Sure, give me a full sentence, okay? Full sentences, students, you have to practice full sentences for the speaking test. If you speak in 2-3 word answers, your band score is going to be, it's going to be low. Okay, so Roland, too much alcohol would be alcoholism. I don't think that's an everyday activity. Drinking alcohol is an everyday activity, possibly, but too much alcohol in itself is not an everyday activity. A dog attack, Kyber, is not an everyday activity. Jiten Sony, daily driving a bike is dangerous for people. Jiten, we don't drive bikes, we ride bikes. Okay, so riding a bike can be dangerous. Why? Kim-sun, driving a car fast should not be a daily activity. Driving is a daily activity. Okay, so again, full sentences. There are several behaviors individuals do daily, such as riding a bike, driving a car, or crossing the road, which can be dangerous in case of an accident. Like my good friend Pete, who crashed his car last week and broke his legs. Okay, that's a band 9 answer. Excuse me, I had a sneeze coming on there. All right, I see some longer, fuller sentences coming now, which is fantastic. Huin Kuat says there are some activities which can be dangerous for people, such as driving a car. Huin, throw in your adjective pronouns, okay? So your which, okay? There are some activities which can be dangerous for people. Bagzod says, and again, repeat your classmates as well, students. So Bagzod says, well, I definitely believe that driving a car has a clear negative impact on the health of individuals, as they can get into accidents which lead to serious injury or even death. Bagzod, it's not a bad answer. Do reflect the everyday activity. That's a key part of this controlling idea. Everyday activity. Students, try not to repeat words. Even dangerous, you should be able to paraphrase that. Another way to say dangerous is hazardous. Okay, so paraphrase as much as possible. Oman says an unhealthy lifestyle, eating junk food and not doing physical activities can be common behaviors which are bad for people's health. Oman, that's okay, Sharapov, but just be sure to finish your idea there, okay? All right. Aman Deep says, well, it depends on the person. Some people drive cars at a very high speed. Some people can't take their health. I'm not sure what you mean by that. They eat spicy and oily food on a daily basis. Okay, a good try, Amandeep. I would say, well, it's different for different people. Amandeep, this is how I would say it. Well, it's different for different people. For some people, driving a car. For their daily eating habits can be hazardous to their health, such as eating oily and spicy foods. Okay? Carlos Claire, I sent you an email with your perks. Hopefully you got that. Says, well, there are a couple of activities which can be hazardous, such as driving a car, riding motorcycles, and these can lead to accidents. Sure, absolutely. Notice my example here, students. If I don't catch you, don't worry. I will get you on the next one. So there are several behaviors individuals do daily. Look at what I do right in the beginning here. Behaviors, activities, individuals, people do daily, every day. So right away in my answer to this question, in the first part, I'm immediately showing the examiner paraphrasing of the key parts of the question, showing them that I understand the question, I have good lexical resource, good vocabulary to paraphrase and give an accurate answer. The number one mistake for students in part 3 and in most of the speaking is they don't accurately answer the question, even when they understand it. Okay? That's not good. Use the question in your answer, such as riding a bike, driving a car, crossing the road. Notice the parallel grammar. Verb, article, noun. Verb, article, noun. Verb, article, noun. Okay? Then comes my adjective clause, which can be hazardous in case of an accident. Okay? Hazardous, as I corrected, paraphrasing the word dangerous. Like my good friend Pete, who crashed his car last week and broke his legs. Like, using like here as a smooth flowing example. Okay? Don't say for example or for instance, especially in part 3, because they will cut you off. Okay? The examiner, if you say for example, they'll interrupt you and they'll cut you off. So you have to make it a quick example, just really throw it in there for the examiner smoothly. Use such as or like. Okay? So like my good friend Pete, who crashed his car last week and broke his legs. All right. So here we go. Now remember, in part 3, there are usually follow-up questions. It means the examiner will ask you another question connected to your answer. Okay, so be ready for that. So let's go through it one step at a time. First question, what kinds of everyday activities can be dangerous for people? There are several behaviors individuals do daily, such as riding a bike, driving a car, or crossing the road, which can be hazardous in case of an accident, like my good friend Pete, who crashed his car last week and broke his legs. Okay, and then the examiner very quickly might say, how can these be safer? How can these be safer? So how can these activities, clearly, how can these activities be safer? Give me some good answers, students. Give me some good answers. The Agida-san says, in order to prevent ourselves from such everyday hazards, individuals have to be careful while doing them and not break the rules which are established for self-preservation. Self-preservation. Agida-san, that last word, it was a very good try. Not self-prevention, but self-preservation. Self-preservation, okay? But otherwise, a very nice response. I like it. It's thoughtful. It's accurate, okay? Vichy Parvani says, people should take regular breaks and avoid sitting continuously in front of a laptop. Also, they should eat green and healthy food to stay fit. People should follow these rules to avoid any sort of accident. Vichy, good. So you're talking about a little bit of a different follow-up, but it works well. Okay. Kyber says, of course, technology has been developed over the last decade. Just from the side of electricity, it's easier to be safe with electrical tools. Sure. Okay. Good. Amrit says, if more attention is paid, these hazards can be less dangerous. Not lowered, Amrit, that's awkward. Can be less dangerous. Okay. The idea to avoid accidents is focusing on one activity at a time. That's our newest member. Again, please just give me your name one more time. I swear I will commit it to memory. I kind of remember it, but I always have difficulty with, I think, Chinese names. Taiwanese names. So to avoid accidents is focusing on one activity at a time. Don't use the word thing, okay? Avoid the word thing because the word thing, Sheng Hyun Tsai, Taiwan. Okay, got you. Sheng Hyun Tsai. So Sheng Hyun Tsai, don't use the word thing in your answer. Thing has a zero value in communication. So always replace it with a better noun, okay? So focusing on one activity at a time and not multitasking can make the situation safer. Like not talking on the phone while driving. Throw in that really nice, smooth-flowing example. Sheng Hyun Tsai. Okay. Hope I'm pronouncing that all right. I'm going to write it down real quick. Sure, why not? Okay, remember it for the future while everybody's thinking of some more answers. Okay. All right. Here's my answer. I'll throw an answer in there. So how can these be safer? Well, people can help make these activities safer by following the rules of the road, like not texting while driving or looking both directions before crossing the road. As well, certain technology has been developed over the years to minimize risk or damage, like anti-lock braking systems and airbags in cars. All right. So that's a nice long answer. It's still on topic. Careful not to overspeak, students. So when you're in speaking part 3, the examiner will not interrupt you when you're talking, unless you're going off topic. If the examiner feels that you're swimming off topic or you're talking way too long, then they will interrupt you. But as long as you stay on topic, they will let you finish what you want and need to say. So, repeat after me. How can these be safer? Well, people can help make these activities safer by following the rules of the road, like not texting while driving or looking both directions before crossing the road. As well, certain technology has been developed over the years to minimize risk or damage, like anti-lock braking systems and airbags in cars. Okay? That will work. That will get you a band 9. All right? Make sure you're repeating me, students. If I'm a little bit too fast, if you think, oh, Adrian, you're talking so fast, I can't repeat you, don't worry about it. The lesson is recorded. Do your best. Try to repeat me as fast and as well as you can. Whatever you miss, don't worry about it. Come back to the lesson at a later time and repeat the sentences then, okay? The video will be on the channel in about 2 hours. That's after we finish. It takes about an hour to process. All right, let's go to the next question. How has technology helped people to be less vulnerable these days than in the past? So how has, okay, pay attention to the grammar. It's present perfect, has helped. Okay, so how has technology helped people to be less vulnerable these days than in the past? Vish Parvani says technology has evolved in the last few years. There has been an increase in security measures to avoid cybercrime compared to before, where people were more people have become more cautious visiting suspicious websites. Okay, people, yeah, sure. I mean, vulnerable. It could be data theft, so that works. It doesn't have to be physical danger. Begzod says, very good, Begzod. You are really remembering the tips from previous classes. That's absolutely what I was looking for. So Begzod says, as I just said, modern technological tools like radars and airbags have considerably decreased thousands of accidents in the last 2 decades compared to the past. Very good, Begzod. You realize that, oh, I can join this to what I just said. I just talked about technology. I talked about airbags, anti-lock braking systems. So why not connect? Why not tell the examiner that, hey, look, I just told you about that, and I understand your question so clearly that I can actually link my answers together. Very clever, Begzod. Well done. Okay. All right. Kyber Jan says, well, over the last decade, technology made it very easy to be safe from dozens of life-shocking experiences through secure electricity. Just in Canada, people are more safe when there's a lightning storm because of new lightning rod technology. Kyber, I had to do a lot of fixing there to make it clear, so careful, okay? Tina, Tagipur. Well, these days, technological advancement can help people, like paying careful attention to driving rules, using traffic lights, and the green lights to tell people when to cross the street. Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Tina, I love how you simplified your answer, and you're basically showing everybody that, hey, guys, you don't have to overthink it. Just simple traffic lights and traffic signs is technology that didn't exist as much in the past in many places, which has created a much safer environment for motorists and pedestrians. Absolutely. Notice the vocabulary I use there, students. One more. Let's take Deepak Kiroriwal. Deepak says, technology always helps people to do activities better or take action to another level, like as with the airbag minimizing the damage from an accident, where this would not happen in the old times. Deepak, not a bad answer, but the word things used twice within 5 words really makes it unclear for your listener. You have to avoid that, Deepak. You cannot use the word things like that over and over, okay? And I see you just wrote another comment, and again, I see in yours the same kind of thing. So don't put things in there, okay? So how has technology helped people to be less vulnerable these days in the past? Again, connect answers whenever you can. So, well, as I had just mentioned, new tech has allowed people to prevent dangerous situations like ABS systems, as well as minimize harm in case of accident, like airbags, as well. Even more tech is being developed, like self-driving cars, which will remove human error from the equation of driving. All right. So here we go. Repeat after me. Well, as I had just mentioned, new tech has allowed people to prevent dangerous situations like ABS. ABS is the anti-lock braking system, as well as minimize harm in case of accident like airbags. As well, even more tech is being developed like self-driving cars, which will remove human error from the equation of driving. Okay, so that's a solid answer. Connecting what you've just mentioned, rephrasing it. Don't just say, oh, I just answered that question, let's go to the next one, but actually rephrase it. Okay, so rephrase what you've said before. Okay, all right. What future development will help even more? There's your follow-up question. So what future development will help even more? Obviously, this is a follow-up to the original question, which is How has technology helped people to be less vulnerable these days than in the past? Okay, so give me a nice answer for that question. So what future developments will help even more to save people's lives or to keep people safe from harm? Okay, give me a nice sentence. Begzan Zulkashev says artificial intelligence or AI technology will help to reduce the level of risk, damage, and injury. Begzan, I think that's brilliant. So software, absolutely. Can you give me an example? So what do you mean? I might ask you another follow-up question if I'm the examiner. I might say, well, what do you mean AI will reduce risk, damage, and injury? Deepak says, certain amount of awareness will definitely help to improve the safe environment, as providing extra lectures about traffic rules in schools will help them to create a better and safer future. Deepak, sure. So developments in education, why not, right? Absolutely. State that clearly. So say certain amount of awareness, development in the education system will definitely help to create a safer environment. Okay, so Begzan, I see that you followed up with what I just asked you. Artificial intelligent technology will help to reduce the risk, damage, and injury. It's still, I don't see the rest of it. Maybe you're still working on it. Bhargav Virani says there are a number of aspects which would help people in their daily life, like transportation. People will use less public transport. I'm not sure where you're going with that. We'll use less public vehicles instead of their own and also cause less pollution. Bhargav, it's a little bit confusing. I think what you're trying to say is people will use less personal vehicles and use more public transportation, therefore decreasing pollution. Sure. Muhammad says more development in the coming era will reduce harm to human life completely. What do you mean, Muhammad? What are you telling me there? How? Yvonne says, I can imagine that new environments will save a lot of life, such as flying cars. Sure, why not, Yvonne? Be creative. Flying cars, absolutely. Okay. So let me finish what I'm saying here. Again, I'm connecting to what I just said. Well, not only self-driving vehicles will reduce road-related accidents, but also through the use of electric motors instead of combustion engines, pollution will decrease, and people will have healthier lungs and therefore get sick infrequently. Okay, so here's my answer. Just repeat after me. Well, not only self-driving vehicles will reduce road-related accidents, but also through the use of electric motors instead of combustion engines. Combustion engines are those that use gasoline or petrol that go boom, 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 boom to drive the pistons. That's a combustion engine. Okay. Will decrease, or pollution will decrease, and people will have healthier lungs. Lungs are what's inside your chest that take in the air. So, right? They're important to us and therefore get sick infrequently. So get sick less often. All right. I'm teaching you some vocabulary here at the same time as I'm giving you the structure of these good responses. So here, notice the use of the correlative conjunction. Correlative conjunction means using not only, but also. That's another way, students, it's another way to connect your ideas among answers. So if I talked about self-driving cars for the last question and it connects to the next question, I can make the connection in two ways, or more ways than two, but two ways. One way, as I just said, or as I just mentioned, or as I previously responded. Okay, those are ways to connect with your last answers. Or you can use a correlative conjunction. So not only what I just said, but also this fact can help too. Okay, so those are two really good tips. Keep that in mind. Does everybody understand what I just explained there? Was that clear, students? If not, let me know. I want to make sure I'm not speaking over your head. Okay, I don't want to speak over your heads because that's not effective. So if you don't understand me, let me know. Okay? All right. Amina, Farhan, good. You understood me. Kunal, no. Kunal, what I'm saying is Muhammad says no. Okay, so just one more time real quick. When you give an answer for a question and that idea is connected with the next question, then you should show that connection. Okay, show that connection by saying, as I just mentioned, as I previously said, or use a correlative conjunction, not only, but also. Okay, all right, I'm happy to see that most of you did pick up that information. That's great. All right, let's go to the next one. Here we go. Next question. Let's keep rolling. Students, you're doing a fantastic job. Keep pushing forward. Here is our next question. What are some places people explore that are hazardous to health? So notice that synonym for dangerous, hazardous. So what are some places people explore that are hazardous to health? Okay. Again, be creative, be original, but don't try to be too fancy or too tricky with your answers. Okay. So start simple. Make sure you're not making mistakes. All right. Thank you for the feedback, Khyber and Chinky Wadwa. Thank you. Okay. Hi, Eugene. Welcome to the class. Vaishnavi Reddy says places which are polluted. Vaishnavi, good idea. Give me a full sentence. So places which are heavily polluted can be dangerous for people's health, like living in downtown areas of large cities such as Beijing or Shanghai, right? Okay, where you have a lot of smog. Smog, smoke. Okay, fog, smog. Smoke, fog, smog. Smog is air pollution where you have lots of smoke in the air or fossil fuel exhaust in the air. Okay. Vish Parvani, great. Okay, excellent. So many people try to swim in the sea, but this can prove to be dangerous because of various sea creatures like sharks, which will attack and sometimes kill people. Right. Tell me what kind of sea creature can be dangerous. Okay, include that and I'll give you a better band score on your next exam. Oman Sharapov says, well, humanity today is threatened by air pollution. For instance, in Shanghai, it is impossible to be there without a face mask because of the fossil fuels or carbon emissions. Oman, it's called carbon emissions. Okay, just so you're not repeating the word pollutions over and over again. Farhan says, let me catch that, Farhan. A recent annoying trend is to create selfie pictures on the edge of a cliff or on riverbanks, and there have been several fatal consequences for certain careless youngsters. Farhan, that is a brilliant, original, modern, accurate, well-constructed answer. You would be definitely on a band 8 to a band 9 level there, okay? It's good. It's natural. It's clear, clean, accurate. Very well done. All right, Chushang Takar says there are numerous areas which are detrimental for health. First and foremost, manufacturing industries are disastrous for people's well-being because there are so many toxic fumes and chemicals that the workers breathe in, such as in computer motherboard manufacturing companies. Yes, True Shang, that's very good. Couple of slight corrections to your word choice, but otherwise a really clever answer as well. Okay, good job, students. I suppose there are both natural places that can be very dangerous, like swimming in shark-infested waters, as well as man-made locations like certain factories full of harmful chemicals, such as a laundry detergent plant. Okay. All right. So I've kind of took a little bit of what you are commenting in the chat. Some of you mentioned natural places that are dangerous for humans, like the ocean or the sea. Some of you mentioned man-made locations like factories. Hey, why not come up with both if we're quick enough to think of it? Here we go. I suppose there are both. Again, repeat, students, I'm not just reading this here, so don't mistake me for just reading. I am saying this because I want you to repeat me. Let's start. 3, 2, 1. I suppose there are both natural places that can be very dangerous, like swimming in shark-infested waters, as well as man-made locations like certain factories full of harmful chemicals, such as a laundry detergent plant. Okay, plant is another way to say factory. All right, so boom, I've got both natural and man-made. I'm using another correlative conjunction, both and, right? And notice an interesting technique that I'm using. So first I say my point number one with both natural places. Then using this additive clause, I give an example, like shark-infested waters, okay? So swimming in shark-infested waters. And instead of and here, I'm using as well as. So as well as man-made locations, like certain factories full of harmful chemicals, such as laundry detergent plants. Okay, so that's how you can do it. All right. I see a lot of other great answers. Again, students, don't fret if I don't read your response. I see a lot of good responses. I just simply don't have time to read everybody's response, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't keep practicing. So keep writing. I will read as many as I can. I try to switch up different people's responses each time, okay? Let's go to the follow-up question. Why do people do this? Why do people do it? So why do people go to these dangerous locations? Kyber, practice, 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 and focus on those skills. That's how you get up to those band 9, right? So you identify the skill, you practice it. Identify the skill of using correlative conjunctions, followed by descriptive examples, and then practice that again and again. Then you'll be able to come up with it nice and fast. Okay. All right. Vish Parvani says, many people do this just for fun and adventure and to explore something new. Also, they do it because they have heard from someone who has tried it that it's exciting or thrilling, so they want to give it a shot. Vish Parvani, it's good. I did a little bit of tweaking with some other vocabulary to make it even more advanced. If you didn't catch it, again, remember, it's at 39 minutes in the video. You can come back and check it in an hour. Okay? Muhammad Shakhrukh says, as I mentioned earlier, the selfie culture, people do this to show off, and some people have certain reasons to stay in polluted areas, like in Japan, because of overpopulation. People live near nuclear power plants. Muhammad, really nice explanation, very nice detail, originality. You're really on a band 8, band 9 level there with your response. Say that nice and fluently, clearly, and you'll get a high band score. No problem. All right. Yakub Sulyanmanov says, because some people just would like to get a great adrenaline rush, which allows them to feel pleasure, even though it's dangerous for their well-being. Sure. Yakub, the expression in English is adrenaline rush. Okay? I'll put that down here for all of you to learn. So we try to get an adrenaline rush. Okay? The high feeling we get from doing a dangerous or extreme activity. Yeah, adrenaline can be addictive, absolutely. It's called an adrenaline rush. Okay, let me take a couple more people before giving a sample response. Sarah Garcia says, people do it mostly for entertainment and for work. They go to these places to have fun and adventure. Also, some people do not have any choice but to work, as it is the only job available to them for their sustenance needs. Sustenance needs means food, shelter, clothing. Those are sustenance needs to sustain life. The pronunciation, watch it with me, students, it's sustenance, sustenance, sustenance needs. Okay? Adrenaline rush. Absolutely. The former adventurists do to get an adrenaline rush and gain incredible experiences which they can brag about to their friends. The latter people do mostly because they have to in order to meet their sustenance needs. Okay? All right. So again, I'm showing you a nice technique here to help you bump up your exam band score. Check it out. So why do people do this? The former adventurists. So people who seek adventure, they're called adventurists. Adventurists do to get an adrenaline rush and gain incredible experiences which they can brag about to their friends. The latter, people do mostly because they have to in order to meet their sustenance needs. There's that vocabulary, sustenance and adrenaline rush. Why am I using former and latter? It's, again, connection to my previous response. So notice how here I said, well, there are natural places. Okay, natural is the former. Why? Because it's the first that I talked about. Okay, and man-made locations, that's the latter. Latter coming, of course, from the idea of later, because it's the second point that I talked about. So for the examiner, that's really high level communication in the English language. So they're like, okay, wow, that student really knows what they're doing. They've mentioned a couple of really good answers for their previous question, and now they're relating the information accurately with excellent lexical resource or vocabulary using former and latter to explain those points. Okay, so again, repeat after me. I'm just going to take this off of here real quick. So remember these words, former and latter. Okay, here we go. The former, adventurous due to get an adrenaline rush and gain incredible experiences, which they can brag about to their friends. The latter, people do mostly because they have to in order to meet their sustenance needs. All right, students, if you're doing a great job in your speaking and you're answering questions nicely, full sentences, fluently, the examiner has more time to ask you even more questions. And they'll switch to a related topic like, let's talk about fear. And then they'll have more questions with more follow-up, like, what are common fears that many people have? Why is this so common? How can people overcome their fears? Which modern professionals are trained to help people with their fears? When is it an advantage to be frightful? When is it a disadvantage? Can you give examples and elaborate? So these are some more questions to get you thinking. You can answer these questions on your own time. Record your answers on your mobile phone in MP3 format. Send them to me, and I will gladly respond with a score estimate of how you would do. Include the tips and strategies that I taught you today. Connect your answers, okay? That will help your cohesion score go up higher. Use good lexical resource. Use correlative conjunctions, not only but also, both and. Use words like former, latter. Use expressions like as I just mentioned. Tolib, you're asking me, how do I generate band 9 answers like you? Pay attention to the question, use parts of the question, connect ideas. And saying this sounds easy, but you have to practice. Record on your phone, listen back, send to where, Travis Huang? I'm going to show you that right now. This is my email right here, Adrian, Adrian, at aehelp.com. That's where you can send your recordings, and I will respond shortly thereafter. Check out our websites for wicked awesome strategies to help you get those high band scores. aehelp.com for academic IELTS and www.gielts.com for the general IELTS exam. Yes, Travis Huang, I do catch most of what people write into the chat. Even though it seems like I'm just talking and talking, sometimes I am paying attention to all of you as well, because my goal is to help you succeed in IELTS. So is the goal of all of my colleagues who work on our websites. These are the websites here: General IELTS, green background; Academic IELTS, blue background. Visit us there, spend a couple dollars, save a lot of money and stress, so you don't have to sit the exam 2, 3, 4, 5 times. That's it for me for today. Much love to all of you. You're all brilliant, smart people. Don't ever let other people get you down and tell you otherwise. Just keep practicing, pushing forward. Perseverance is key to success in life. I will be back on Wednesday at 15 o'clock Central European Time with Speaking Part 1, Practice and Strategy on the same channel. Have a great rest of your weekend and an awesome start to your week. Bye for now.